Prepper boys, through Spain, we gotta survive. Yeah, we gotta survive to stay alive. Yeah, to stay alive. You better be ready, or you better be steady. No, you don't be prophetic. It can happen. Prepper boys, you just gotta watch it all. It can happen. Prepper boys, when the backs against the wall. It can happen. Prepper boys, and there's no one left to call. It can happen. Prepper boys, it can happen any minute.
Hello, friends, and welcome to episode number 4 of the Prepper Boys podcast. It's me, your boy Ryan. And who do I got here with me?
And blank.
No, dude, they have to know your name.
My name is Jordan. My name is
right,
JF.
yeah. Do that one again?
My name is JF.
That's pretty good. All right, guys. Jordan, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm fucking annoyed.
Why?
I'm so ready for the fucking apocalypse. I can't even tell you. Listen.
Why?
Okay, we've talked about this before. Fucking the government stole my tax return, right?
They stole your tax return?
Yes,
or
$3,500.
They just took your money because your tax return is already theft.
They stole it from me. I was supposed to get $3,500 back. They took it because I had unpaid student loans. The Department of Education took it. Fucking Betsy DeVos, that fucking cunt. What does she need it for? For her little charter school friends? Fucking.
I mean, I don't think she personally said, get this guy's money.
No, she did. I know she did because I'm an outspoken critic of hers.
This is the first thing I've ever heard you say about her.
I hate her. I talk shit about her at work all the time. And anytime, any transgression she goes about, I always put it on the news because she fucking sucks. And I would be fair.
And people say the news doesn't have agendas.
Listen, I would put anything good that she did on the air. She's literally never done anything fucking good.
Isn't she donating her salary or something?
Oh, wow. Fucking, dude, her husband is like the fucking...
She's never done anything good.
Listen.
Here's an example. Oh,
no,
wow.
No, it's not, though, because that's like Trump saying that he's donating his salary. What a fucking good guy. No, he's not, though, dude, because he's like fucking... He didn't divest his interest. His children are still running his brand. They're selling more shit than ever. You're not a fucking hero. Like, it's...
I'm just saying, you said that she hasn't done anything good.
Hasn't.
I give an example.
She's not done anything good.
I'm not for her.
Now here's what I would say though to that point. Those loans were all taken out during Obama's terms. So you know what? Betsy DeVos is okay. She's and you're right. She didn't take my tax return. It's just, the Department of Education doing their job. That's fine. But let me tell you about the other fucking shit lately. I lost my driver's license. Why do I even have a driver's license? I know how to drive. Just trust me that I can do it. I don't need it. And I tried to buy cigarettes and they wouldn't sell them to me. And that's like, fine, whatever. But also, fuck you, man. Because, like, I was buying Alka-Seltzer at the same time. Like, what 17-year-old's buying Alka-Seltzer?
Hey, that clerk never knows what crazy stuff you kids and your Tide Pods are doing.
Just fucking trust me. So then I'm driving.
This is a conversation for a different day. And this is one of those times where I see the libertarian eking out of you.
Well, that's what, me being libertarian, this is why I don't understand why everybody's not. It's just, my whole point of why I'm libertarian slanted is because fucking just, I don't want to be bothered, dude. Like,
exactly.
And that's what I don't get. And I don't know any libertarian. I truly don't know any libertarian who's like, oh, I'm libertarian and I want less government for the other people. It's never about the other people. It's just a bunch of people who just want to be left alone. But that also applies to you. When everyone else is libertarian, you benefit by default because nobody's fucking with you.
Yeah, if everybody actually goes, which, it's the perfect scenario is never going to happen. But if the perfect scenario were to happen and everybody was libertarian-esque, then you wouldn't need welfare. You wouldn't need stuff like that because people would be given to charity. People would be helping. Yeah.
And so then fucking I'm driving the other day and I get on. I'm driving just down the interstate, driving less than the speed limit because I'm careful and I'm just minding my own fucking business. And some fucking dickhole it misses his exit or some shit. So he fucking skips over that goddamn fucking, where it starts to split. He shoots over that really quick to make it in fucking time. His stupid tires fucking clip the little thing, and fucking rocks shoot up in my car, and there's fucking...
You talking about like an exit?
Yeah, he
Is that
missed
what
his
you're
exit. He got over too late, so he had to fucking scoot over that thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? And when he did that, he hit those little treads, in the the divots in the road, fucking kicked all the rocks up from that. One of them slams into my windshield, cracks my fucking windshield. And this is the point that I'm getting to.
And nothing can be done about that either.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Nothing can be done. I'm fucked. I'm just fucked. No, you're no recourse. And it's just like, here's my issue.
No recourse for them because, they shouldn't have done that. They should be ticketed for, the improper lane change and stuff like that. But the rock, according to like insurance companies, the police is an act of God or whatever.
Exactly, act of fucking God. And this is my whole point, dude. It's like, I'm working a job that frustrates me to no end. I have to fucking find a driver's license for no fucking reason. Like, $3,500 just gone to the fucking government. And then a crack in my window. It's like, why am I doing any of this, dude? Like, none of that actually matters in if I'm alive or not. Or it shouldn't.
And that's why people move to Alaska.
It shouldn't matter. Like, I'm so fucking stressed now. Oh, and then my wisdom teeth are just fucking driving me up the wall. So everything's been... But it's just like, dude, like, I just want a fucking bomb to wipe everything out. Wipe all the credit out. Like, credit's just made up anyways. Like, they could get rid of it if they fucking pressed a button. And, like, I don't want to pay for any of this shit. I just, like, dude, why can't we not just go back to basics of, like, I was looking at a squirrel the other day, and that's like, dude, all that squirrel does is wake up, and he's like, let's get some food. That's his whole fucking life. And it's like, it's so complicated for no fucking reason. I think that's why...
if you think about it, that's basically the same thing with you. You're waking up. You have to get food, but you have different measures that you have to go through to get that.
That's why I hate it. That's why, like, aside from just the sexual fantasies we've described before, like, I think that's what attracts me to the end of the world is I'm just like, I'm fucking fed up with just like the everyday shit that makes no sense.
Here's a question. Here are some things that you can try. If you are upset about, buying cigarettes, stop smoking.
No.
Okay. If you're worried about food, plant a garden.
I can't grow anything. Also, fuck a garden. Do you realize it's been super nice here for like 3 weeks and everybody planted all their shit?
Isn't it snowing now?
Fucking, yeah, it snowed this morning. April fucking, what is it, 8th, 7th?
Yeah, that's happened like several times over the last few years up there.
I'm just fed up. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I'm fed up with it. But I'm also excited because we're recording these much earlier than we post them, but we got a lot of the stuff on the website figured out. If you're listening, it's all been figured out for you. But we're excited about the whole design and everything that's gone on.
Ryan did a good job. I got a text from him saying, "Look at the website and only positive critiques accepted."
Yeah, well, I'm a sensitive guy with a fragile ego, and I like being told that I like getting patted on the head.
Tousle your hair, pat you on the head.
Yeah, good job, buddy. You've done it.
Good boy.
So, and
you are like that dog I had growing up. So
yeah. Anyways, so yeah, hope you guys like the website. If you like the website, drop us a comment or just send me a picture of a thumbs up or something. It'll make me happy. But Jordan, that brings me to our first part of the show. Do you happen to know what time it is?
No. What time is it?
I don't know. How could we find out?
Let me look at my phone, or maybe you can find it over there.
I actually can't find the time. What should we do?
I don't know.
Let's check the doomsday clock.
All right, let's check the doomsday clock to find out what time it is.
Doomsday.
Don't actually have to check the doomsday clock because it never changes. Won't change again until January. But we can tell you about some of the happenings going on. And
You know what we should do? We should start like comparing what it is, and then reassess it ourselves, and so we can give it our own
we
time
really should. We should make our own doomsday clock. We should.
with what's going on currently.
Well,
Excuse me, currently.
Well, we should because that guy got. You remember he got arrested. We found that out last week. The guy who was behind the clock, he got arrested.
Yes.
So we need
So
to take it over.
So maybe it's not actually accurate if we know that they're doing something illegal.
Yeah. What kind of sexual assault agenda are they pushing at the doomsday clock?
So that's what it was. The doomsday clock was invented to get girls to drop their panties. Like, look, it's at 11:58.
He was.
You're
doing,
gonna die.
That's the whole thing. That was his whole plan. He's like, "Ooh, do you know what really gets girls?"
He must have been in a frat.
Yeah, he wasn't a frat. Fucking dickhead. Anyway, here's the news happening. Navy aircraft. It's called the Navy E-6B. It's the airframe of a Boeing 737. Operates as a full command and control facility in the air, where basically U.S. Strategic Command can launch missiles, protect the president, and do all that. Seems strange that if you were trying to avoid bombs, you would get on a plane in the air.
I mean, the bombs aren't going to be hitting the planes. That would be missiles.
Well, I mean, it's bombs and missiles that they're shooting.
Yeah, but they're not going to be tracking that plane. They're just,
right,
ICMBs.
But I would imagine that if you're going to launch a bomb at a missile, you already know where that plane is.
Or ICBM, sorry. No,
ICBY.
TCBY?
TCBY, yeah. TTYL. Whatever. I guess, okay, cool. They have a plane. We fucking already knew that. Next news story. An old JFK secret doomsday map is up for auction.
What?
Yeah, the historic artifact from some of the darkest days of the Cold War, when Washington and Moscow reached a standoff that could have led to a nuclear doomsday. President John F. Kennedy consulted the map, which shows dozens of potential military targets across Cuba.
Where you getting that info from?
CNN.
Oh, okay.
So it's just a map, and it looks like some other information is with it. What JFK, where he would have launched those missiles in Cuba, had shit gotten to that point. That's pretty cool, but also it's like Cuba's not that big. So
Yeah.
do you really need a map? Couldn't you just like fire 4? And you would have pretty well taken the whole thing out. I don't know why you need so many.
But you still don't. It's kind of like, shooting. You don't want to just shoot a gun randomly. You want to know your target, and you want to know what's beyond it.
Is that how you shoot guns?
I mean, that's how the average safe gun owner shoots them.
I'm a big fan of the spray and pray method. So
It's not paintball.
the other new big story is that the White House has a secret 5-story deep doomsday bunker. Well, yeah, I think we pretty well knew that already. I don't think that's a secret. I guess actually it's new. Project began in 2010. It was officially cited as a project to improve the White House electrical wiring and conditioning, but it had a $376 million price tag, and it turns out that they were expanding the bunker, which was already there. They just made it deeper. So I guess that's good. I mean, I don't think like they say it's classified, but it's like I'm pretty sure we all fucking assumed they had that.
Yeah.
Where's the other one at that they have like that? It's under a hotel, isn't it?
I don't know, but I was actually so my wife got into a car wreck recently, and we went to go buy a new car, and the guy at the dealership, the salesman, started talking, and he's one of those that is of our ilk, and he was telling me for some reason it just came out of nowhere. It was like, yeah, there's a FEMA shelter or a FEMA place that I was out driving around one day, and there were armed guards, but they didn't have any kind of markings on them or anything, and it's an underground bunker. And I spoke to some people at work, and they're like, oh yeah, they said that that area was one of the main area or main I guess hubs for this area for FEMA, and that also supposedly there is a presidential bunker under a hospital around there.
Oh,
And so,
interesting. Do you think that was? Do you think that was Cuba stuff?
yeah, it was Cuban Missile Crisis, Cold
Oh,
War.
right. There has to be hundreds, if not thousands.
Oh yeah, I mean,
of-
because you got to think anywhere in the country they're going to have something accessible within a certain amount of mileage and time.
Exactly right. Like that's the thing. What's the earliest that you could possibly know that a missile was headed? Maybe 10 minutes.
Well, not just a missile, but anything.
Right,
like,
that's what I'm saying.
During 9/11.
Right. That too. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, I mean, everything's got to be pretty fucking close. I guess that probably, well, I don't know. You know what? Because what I want to say is that they're probably like looking at, oh, well, these are the high traffic areas and these are where presidents go, so let's just build them there. But knowing
Yeah.
that the way that the government spends money, I'm sure that they've just got. I would be utterly shocked if wherever you are at any point in your life, you are not within an hour of a like government owned, fully ready and prepared shelter
I mean,
of some type
just
for
based
that.
off of like film, which I know that's make believe, but there are consultants on those things, and just based on what you see in film and media and film and television and all that, it would make you believe that there is some sort of like system to where like maybe there's regions like within each state's broke, because each state is broken up into regions, and so within each of those regions maybe they go in and like, oh, okay, well, it's going to be quicker if we have one here, or maybe we have one here and one here, because if we're over in this area. And so like you're saying, like there probably are hundreds.
You know what? Kennedy had that. Well, did Kennedy have a pre-recorded nuclear message, or did he just have the space one?
I don't know.
Because I know he had a space one that was like Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin are dead. I know that exists. I don't know if
Yeah.
it's a video, but I know it's at least a speech where it's Kennedy saying they died. Or not that they died. It's they're stuck on the moon. We can't get them back. They're gonna die on the moon.
Which makes you or at least me think more so that the moon landing was real, because why would they
Yeah.
have that and have that under
Yeah.
secret or whatever
Or-
for however long they did, if it were fake?
Or was that speech planted?
Or was it?
Oh fuck. I don't know. No, they went to the fucking moon. Why wouldn't they?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not a flat earther. I'm not
Or- no.
a person that's going to sit there and think, oh, well, they're trying to hide something. I think it
No.
happened.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at just the technology and the shit that we have going on that we know is 100% real, how are they not able to do
Yeah,
that?
and that's the other thing too that I think people get fucked on, where people like get confused. Like, why would we not go back, motherfucker? Do you know why we went in the first place? Kennedy,
It was to beat Russia.
It wasn't even to beat Russia in terms of like we were in the first. It was strictly like, I promise you that when
A show of force.
when JFK did that, when JFK was like did that speech and was like, we will go to the moon by the end of the decade, he turned fucking around and said, we have to get there and build a fucking missile, right? Like that's why we're going. Like we have to build that capability so we
The
can
missile.
we want to bomb Russia from space. That's all it was, dude. Like, come on, be fucking real about it.
And that's why Reagan had Star Wars.
Oh, really? What are you talking about?
I mean, Reagan had the Star Wars, whatever. Let me look it up.
What are you talking about? Reagan made Star Wars?
No, not the movie.
Oh, is he just like a fan?
No, it was.
He just
You know what I'm talking about.
No, I really don't know what you're talking about. I honestly, truly do not know what you're talking about. Like he did it for like propaganda.
He called for launching a Star Wars initiative, which basically I think it is the Strategic Defense Initiative, which was formed in 1984. It was a proposed missile defense system that was intended to protect the United States from nuclear weapon attacks.
Oh, okay. Can we bomb the moon? You know,
I mean, I don't think you would want to, seeing as how that affects tides and whatnot. So,
oh, this says that. Let me see here. Oh. Oh, well, this was something different. NASA shot a rocket at the moon just to see if they could, like, do a test from Earth without having to go to the moon. Well, that's what I'm asking. My question is, could a psychopath like Kim Jong-un, could he just say, you know what? Oh, I've had enough of this. Oh,
so you're proposing a movie-worthy plot. I'm going to blow up the moon.
Yeah, like okay, if you're Hitler, and you're like, we are going to bomb the moon. The Third Reich is over. You know what I mean? Just like as like a total like
Wouldn't it be the Third Reich begins, not over?
No. No, I'm saying it from the point of view of like a suicide mission.
Yeah.
They're like, listen, you're gonna fucking ruin everything we've been trying to do. All right, you're coming with us. I'm just wondering if we could do that. Of course, it would fuck everything up. I'm not saying
and that's when Austin Powers comes in.
I'm not.
To save the
listen.
day.
I want to clear something up for all of our listeners and for our own names and for all the sponsors who might be afraid to touch us. I am not advocating the bombing of the moon. I like the moon. I think it does a good job. I think we need it. I'm just wondering, could they do it? That's all I'm asking.
I think you also need to make it known that anything you just said about Hitler was not in pro, it was in con.
That is correct. To all my sponsors, to all our listeners, I am not pro-Hitler. I've never been pro-Hitler. And
to my future possible children, I am not pro-neo-Nazi by any means.
I have a child. She knows I'm not neo-Nazi. I kind of have a neo-Nazi haircut. I do have a lot of American flags in my house. But that's because I love this country.
So knowing you for as long as I have, and just seeing your evolution into who you are today, the whole American flag thing was not something I would ever expect you to have, except for ironically.
Really?
Like, I got American flags.
No, I love this country. I was always like that. Even I was actually looking through a series of old like notebooks and stuff that I have, and like it's so like cringely bad. Like, ugh.
You trying to write like new national anthems? Maybe we'll use this.
No. No, I mean just like very typical like teenage angst. And it was even worse because like this is at the time when like Green Day was fucking, this was like at the height of the Bush hate. And so Green Day was like fucking American Idioted and up, and My Chemical Romance and all that stuff was being all like pseudo punk and stuff. I wasn't into any of that. I fucking hated it. But that's what made it even worse, was that like I was like not even punk, like because I didn't dress that way. I was like super like grungy in high school.
Yeah.
But like it was like so pretentious that I was like, even those people who are being pretentious are fucking fakers. Like that's everything.
You were so hipster that even the hipsters
just
were
so
fake.
cliche and fucking every 16-year-old. And I just can like, whenever I read it, I can put myself back in that mindset of thinking that like, dude, you're so fucking like unique. But
what's funny is about that same time that all that was happening to you, I was in college getting kicked out of an English class because I had to write a paper. We had to pick a presidential candidate. At that time, it was the Bush-Kerry race.
Right.
And we had to pick a presidential candidate and argue one of their platforms for the presidency. Well, you know me, I obviously very anti-authoritarian and very anti-authority, to the point I would just want to make it clear, not like, cops,
Not like
but
take
more
over.
like
Yeah.
teachers.
Right.
And we had to write that, and she was very vocal that she was a Vietnam War protester, and now she was an Iraqi war protester, and yada yada yada. And so I picked Bush for my candidate, and I argued the war on terror as a positive, for his campaign. And I turned it in next day, next class time. I got called to her office, and she basically told me that I needed to drop her class and
Are
all
we
this
thinking
other
of the
shit.
same teacher, SHY?
No. This was when I was up north.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, fucking dude, I don't. My main point though to that was even at that height of that, and like I wasn't like super anti-Bush because I was just like I don't fucking know. I'm 15. I don't know what the
Yeah.
fuck you're talking about. But even at that where I was like I was always like raging against the machine, but never the government, never this fucking country. The government, yes. Members of this government, yes, for sure. But like I'm fully on board with like the American jingoism. I love this country. I would have served I was going to join the Navy, but they couldn't guarantee that I was going to go where they said they were going to put me. They couldn't guarantee.
They couldn't guarantee you combat.
No, yeah.
We're getting the shit.
No, honestly, what it was, and listen, I'm aware that there are lots of people in people's lives. Jordan, though, I think you can attest that I'm smart enough that this is plausible at the very least.
Okay.
They wanted me to join the Navy to join the nuclear program, but they couldn't guarantee that I would do that. That's the thing. Listen, I love this country, but I am a fucking pussy, dude. And like, I will 100% join the Navy and do nuclear research for you. I will not go to the front lines because I will cry. I will put the
Yeah.
whole troop at risk.
I can attest that all of this is probably true.
Yeah. So they couldn't, and I ended up not doing it. And then I had scholarships anyway, so it was fine. But I would totally have joined. I think about it all the time that I should have done it. And then also another part of that too was I did ask them, well, will you ever use the bombs? And they were like, well, I don't know, probably not. And I was like, well, I don't want to spend 40 years making stuff you don't use. So
That went somewhere completely different than I thought. I thought it was going to be like, well, I don't want to work on this, and then you go and bomb everybody with the
No.
work that
I don't mind that at all. I am a huge proponent, the same way it is with guns. The best defense is the best offense is a good defense.
It's not like masturbation and the whole, if you don't use it, you'll lose it thing.
No, I'm a big fan of how good guy with a gun stops a bad guy with a gun.
Yeah.
Good guy with a nuclear bomb stops a bad guy with a nuclear bomb. That's my fucking take on
Well,
it.
if you think about it, that does work because we have them and we basically intimidate everybody into not trying to bomb us because they know
We're
what would
the
happen.
only country to drop them. There's a reason for it. People know not to fuck with us. I'm a big fan of that. I've said this before too. If I was a big, strong guy, I would beat the shit out of everybody. Like, typically, you'd like to be pretty guarded about some of your prep stuff. I know you're pretty guarded about it. But today, we're going to share a little bit of ours with you. Today. Right now. We're gonna start talking about some of our plans. We're not gonna tell you where we're gonna be. We're not gonna tell you, where we're gonna go. But we are gonna share with you a little bit about our plans, in case of some type of event. So, the first thing, I think the big thing that is on your mind, just in case there's ever sort of, some disaster, is, Jordan, what are you going to eat? Right?
Food.
Well, right, but what kind of food? What food is going to get you through? So, we're gonna kind of figure out our prep list that is on the website, so you can go check it out too. But you're also gonna hear some of the thoughts behind why we put this stuff in there. and then plan according to your
Wait,
situation.
what do you have on there?
All right, so this is some of the suggested items. People are really high on this idea of like grains, like having like lots of flour and cornmeal and shit like that. I think that's a fucking
That's usually
stupid idea.
extended like
Right.
multiple weeks or months, even years, and it's usually if you're bugging in somewhere.
Right, yes. I think that the big thing that you want to do, and this I think is applicable to any type of situation. Are you waiting out a fucking bomb, or are you just trying to get through 3 days because everything's fucked because of a hurricane? But canned food, obviously, big need.
Yeah. I mean that's store bought and homemade canned food.
And it can last for a super long time. Do you want to eat super cold green beans? You don't, but you can.
Well, that's why you have a little cook stove and stuff in your kit.
Right, but my point is that you can open a can of green beans and eat it without electricity.
Yeah.
You can't eat a bag of fucking flour. This isn't Skyrim. You gotta, go through all that. So, what do you suggest as some good?
Well, so currently we are really only prepping for about a week because so far, because we've recently moved and, we've got house, new car, a new house. We just bought a house, just bought a car because, like I said earlier, my wife got into a wreck and we're having to go at everything on a budget. And so right now we're just focusing on short term. And I have, a few different freeze dried stuff like My Patriot Supply. I was listening to or watching The Blaze, Glenn Beck, and they did a commercial for My Patriot Supply, and it was a 3-day free 3-day emergency food kit for shipping and handling. And so I paid like $10 to get it shipped, or not even $10. I think I paid like $5 to get it shipped. But it is a 3-day, 72-hour kit, and it's on their website for almost $25. So I was like, yeah, that sounds like a pretty good, deal. And so, I've got that. That's, freeze dried stuff. It's 16 servings, 3 days. I think it's for one person. But, then we have other canned goods and MREs and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I would suggest if you're making a list, you're trying to make a comprehensive list of stuff. I think that a pretty good just rule of thumb is a 3-day supply of MREs or freeze dried, a 3-day supply of ration bars. Ration bars are really cheap.
Yeah, I actually have those in my. I have an EDC bag, and I do carry some of those in that, but I also have those in my bug out bag. The ration bars and the little packets, the lifeboat water packs. I have a bunch of those.
Yeah, and so I think that a good rule of thumb, have 3 days of each of those, so that if shit really starts to push longer than you think it's gonna, are you gonna love eating ration bars for 3 days? No, you're not, dude. But like worst case scenario, it's better to have it. And those by far, ration bars and anything freeze dried, they last a super long time.
And also, just like your stocks and bonds, diversify, because you're not gonna want to eat that same thing over and over and over.
Exactly.
So get the ration bars, get the canned food, get the the freeze dried stuff.
Right. And so ration bars, MREs, those are all kind of last resort options, but like, dude, that's one of the things that you don't have to replace. Like, you can keep ration bars around for 10 years before you even need to think about getting any more. So it's one of those things that you can throw. You know what? You've got a family of 4. You can buy ration bars for the 4 of you that'll last a week for $50. Put it in the fucking wherever you want to put it, and it's just not something you have to think about again. So who knows, dude? Maybe you fuck something else up. Maybe you are a total fucking dumbass and you forget to put a can opener in there. You've got the ration bars. Is it great? No, dude, but it will keep you alive. Same thing goes for MREs. Same thing goes for freeze dried. Same thing goes for anything that you just need to mix with water. As far as canned goods go, I think a suggestion that everything I've seen is you want to have at least 2 meats, 2 vegetables, 2 fruit, and 2 bean per person per day. Beans, I would actually say you should probably have a little bit more than, just because they're so high in protein that
Yeah.
if the meats, for whatever reason, don't,
Go bad.
if they go
Yeah.
bad or they don't last or just there's a problem, beans will get you through that. And again, like you said, diversify. Get yourself some pinto beans. Get yourself some soybeans. Get yourself some black beans, black-eyed pea beans, or black-eyed pea. I don't think. Well, those are technically beans, but they don't call them black-eyed pea beans. But, have a lot of that. And then I think that I see a lot of lists that are like, get like 6 cans of green beans, 6 cans of corn. Dude, if you don't fucking like corn or green beans, don't get that shit. Figure out, like,
Exactly.
pick some shit you like. So the way that we'll put that on our list for you guys, if you're doing this at home, again, like, plan as much as you can for your own family, for your own group, for the people you intend to get through this with. Dude, if you don't like yams, don't fucking carry around 60 fucking cans of yams. What are you doing? Like, if you
I
don't
just like yams.
you don't like pinto beans, fucking have some refried beans, man. Do you want to eat fucking refried beans for 3 days? I don't. But if you're into it, like, plan for you. Don't fucking plan for some other shit, or just because a list tells you to get it. So, and again, that is about 2 of those per day per person for however long.
Well, one of the other things that I like to do on that, sorry, I just wanted to jump in, is I actually make my own MREs. I'll bulk buy a lot of stuff and get Mylar bags, like 1 gallon Mylar bags, and just throw everything in there, seal it up, and you have the expiration dates written down, on each bag for everything, so when it's good, when it'll go bad, and all that. But
Yeah.
that's one of the things that you can do to ensure that you're getting stuff that you want.
Yep, and again, that's why I think we work great as co-hosts, because you'll go that extra mile. I'm fucking lazy. I just want to pay for it.
Yeah, I actually do that for my lunches sometimes as well. I'll
Right.
just grab one of those.
Another thing that you want to do as well, a lot of people suggest powdered milk. If you don't like powdered milk, that's fine, but you do want to make sure that you're covering, all of your dietary needs, and that means dairy.
But I'm allergic to milk.
Then find something else that has dairy in it, buddy. There's stuff. And maybe that just means that's another thing too. People don't a lot of times lump this in with food, but they should. Are multivitamins.
Yeah.
And that means specific vitamins to what your dietary needs are. Like, dude, if you know you have an iron deficiency, fucking pump yourself up with iron. Make sure you've got iron covered. The last way you want to die in the apocalypse, right, is like, I was all prepared and I fucking died because my iron was too low. Like,
I've got scurvy because I don't have any sort of vitamin C or citric acid.
yeah, or I keep passing out because I don't have enough potassium. So, figure that out. Depending on what your situation is, I would love at some point to get myself a deep freezer.
It's interesting you say that. We are actually in the market to get one right now.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's and dude, you can pack so much shit in that, especially if you vacuum seal stuff. If you are just a fucking idiot packing frozen meat or chicken tenders or something, what a dumbass.
Well, see, that's one of the things in my research that I've actually found is that it depends on the type of freezer you get. If you get an auto defrosting one, you're more likely to experience freezer burn because the freezer has to increase in temperature in order to melt off, the accumulation of the ice and everything. And so it's constantly, letting it heat up, cooling it down, and doing that. Whereas if you get a manual defrosting one, it just constantly stays cold, and so you're actually less likely to get freezer burn. And then if you vacuum seal on top of that, you're almost guaranteed not to.
Right, exactly. And you know what? Just, get a manual defrost one, because the last fucking thing you should be worried about is, ooh, my deep freezer's got a little bit of frost on it. Fucking suck a dick, dude. The world's ending.
Except for whenever it gets to that point to where there's too much ice in there and you need to defrost it, and then you're going to have a place to put all of your frozen stuff so it doesn't spoil while that thing defrosts.
Be a grown-up, man. Deal with it.
Just chip the ice off.
Chip the ice off, motherfucker. Also, some other good little things to throw in there. A little bit of a pantry. Throw in some, peanut butter. Throw in some cooking oil, honey. Any kind of just like fats or lards. That's just not gonna go bad, dude. Anything that you have in your pantry
That
right
stuff
now.
will go rancid though. Oils and lard, fat and stuff like that can go rancid.
Not in 6 months, it won't, dude. And
Not in 6 months.
And
no.
so listen to me. What you do? You buy that shit. You put it in there. You put it in your stuff.
Rotate your stock.
Exactly. So buy yourself some of that stuff. Put it up. 6 months later, switch it out, dude. Use that oil. Use that peanut butter. You got a new one in there in case things ever go bad. And I would say I don't think that you should keep a 10-pound bag of flour in your prep kit. But what you should do is
unless you use flour a lot in your cooking.
What? You're not going to use a lot of flour when the world ends, bro.
There are people out there that do this already.
My God, but we're not talking to those people. We're not
talking to them, but I'm saying that there are people out there that do that, which means whoever is listening can get to that point. And because if they're told early on you don't need this, sometimes that stays with you. Oh, I don't need that. And then you may get to a point where you're like, shit, I wish I would have had some.
If you are in a situation where you can afford to properly store and secure a 10-pound bag of flour, you do not need a fucking podcast. You are just you are going to the fucking gun store and you're just putting down a blank check and you're saying, give me everything I need. So but no, you're right. Yeah, you know that there are potential solutions for that stuff out there, but if you're not at that point, if you're not thinking I'm hunkering down for 40 years, I just want to get through, some event.
Yeah.
Again, vacuum seal yourself a bag and make sure you have a lot of other Ziploc bags with you too. So that way when you open it, you can then, ration it out. A little bit of flour, salt for sure, and sugar. Salt and sugar.
Yeah, 'cause that lifespan of whatever it is has just decreased tremendously the moment you opened it.
That is true, and you also got to worry, depending, especially if it's like, dude, if you're in a bunker not a bunker, but like a storm shelter for a hurricane or a tornado or something like that, that is going to be humid, dude. The second you leave that bag open for a couple minutes, you're fucking shit up. So, make sure that you're prepared for those sorts of things if you do need to start breaking that stuff up. And like I said, sugar and salt are super quick ways that you need both of those things to be alive. And you start to run out of food, dude, a handful of sugar. Let's say you get to a point where you've ran out of food and you're like, I need to hunt or I need to go scavenge. Like, handful of sugar will get you through 2 hours to be able to do that stuff. If you don't, salt too. Salt. A lot of people think like, oh, salt dehydrates you, but like you cannot live without sodium. You will get incredibly sick.
Not just that, but the iodized salts. You want to keep that iodine in your system so you don't get goiters and whatnot.
Exactly. So, and again, same thing. That would be my same exact recommendation as we said with peanut butter and oil, stuff like that. Keep you a little container of Morton's salt. After 6 months, swap it out with a different one, dude. Same thing goes for sugar. I know that most of the way that we interact with sugar will be in a bag, but you can buy the same ones that you'll see like in gas stations. The same way that they have salt in the containers with the little spout on it. You can get that for sugar too. And I think you could probably, if you looked in the right places, you could probably find that stuff with flour as well. And a lot of that other stuff. And then, if you are lucky enough to have a deep freezer, I say throw some fruit in there. Bananas and apples hold really well. Frozen bananas
Going back to the pantry really fast. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you. I just thought about it. There are other alternatives to some stuff. So like if you want to have butter, you can buy canned butter that can last anywhere between 1 to 5 years depending on storage conditions, but you can also get other shelf stable alternatives like ghee or clarified butter, which is basically all of the milk fats removed, and you are just left with the I guess essentially the oil part of it that's, solidified, so it's a lot softer.
Right.
But it can basically just sit on your shelf for however long you need it to.
And butter usually has a pretty high sodium content as well. Whether it's butter or margarine, they fucking load that shit up. So those are really good things.
If
and
you
again,
get specifically butter with salt,
right?
Because there is a lot of unsalted butter out there.
But that's, I mean, like, it doesn't sound like it's fucking the best thing in the world, but like you could subsist for a long time eating
on
just
butter alone.
On eating like butter and sugar, like you're not gonna be healthy, but like butter, sugar, and water like are kind of. You need some protein in there too. Butter, sugar, and beans and water. Like you could really get through quite a while doing just that and be pretty okay. Like I said, you won't be super healthy.
You have a coronary at the end of it.
Yeah, you die of high cholesterol, but it is something that like don't overlook that stuff in terms of like keeping those fat reserves built up. That if you don't fucking know, you could go get super close to the end. And butter could help you get through an extra 2 days for someone else to come get you or whatever the situation might be. You know what I mean? Yeah, you could just be hunkered down just for a tornado. Tree lands on your fucking door. You're stuck in your shelter now until somebody comes and gets you. Things like that. Things that are like high in fat and high in sodium. As long as you have water with you, if you have too much sodium or too much water, either way, you're gonna get fucked. But if you have a good balance of all that stuff, dude, you can make it through a pretty okay amount of time until at least help arrives, or until a point that you can go out and find something else.
I would say, I know we are talking about food, but I would say definitely make sure that you acquire water before food, since you can only survive a certain amount of time without water, and you can survive longer without food.
Absolutely.
And 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food.
And the other thing I would say, just the last little bit of the cap on food is, like we said, if you have a deep freezer, throw some fruits in there, throw some meats, whatever kind of meats you like. Look for something high in fat again, and then also something that's high in protein. So any kind of like steak, chicken would be really good. I wouldn't fucking bet my future on having a bunch of shrimp lying around. I don't think that's going to be the best idea. It's too expensive. B, it's not dense enough, and it's just not going to give you the right stuff. I would say
expensive for you. It's cheaper down here.
Well, shrimp, either way, regardless of where you are, I think it probably is less cost efficient than loading up on ground beef. So that stuff. But you make a really good point, and I think it goes along with food, which is why we're going to cover it today as well, is water. So what are your plans as far as water is concerned?
We have, of course, the store-bought, cases of water, which they have expiration dates on there, but as long as the bottles are BPA free, I've read, anywhere from years to, won't expire. So just, do what you feel is safe, but we have a lot of bottled water for short-term emergency. We haven't really, like I said, we haven't really done anything for long-term just because that's not our priority right now. But the big drums of water, when we eventually, because we're not going to live in this house forever. We're probably going to be here for maybe the next 10 years, maybe a little bit less, just depends on what happens job wise. But once we find a place that we're actually settling down and we know that that's where we're going to be living, then we're going to start in the long term. And that's when we'd be getting the big drums, the water, which you can add like a couple drops of chlorine to like a big batch of water to sanitize it. And stuff like that, but you will need to kind of change it out every so often, and there are tabs that you can throw in there, kind of like with the bleach, to keep it better. But that's the long term. But we have like life straws, lifeboat water. Like I said, I carry that in my my bug out bag, and depending, like if we go on a long trip, like when we go back to see my family, and like going back to see you or something, I'll take that stuff in the car with me just in case, because you never know when you're going to be stranded on the side of the road.
Yeah. I think I'm kind of along the same lines as you. I don't have anything super concrete for a long time yet. I try to keep a case of bottled water, 24 about ish, somewhere in that range per person. So if you're expecting to have 4 people with you, I try to keep a case per person. That I think you could manage if it was depending on how, intense the situation is. I've got it rationed out for 3 bottles a day per person, so that gets you 8 days. And
So
then
are these 20-ounce or 16-ounce bottles?
they're the 16 ounce, I guess.
Okay.
But here's the other thing too. Anything that has moisture in it has water in it, unless it's oil. So if you've got, for instance, if you've got canned corn or you've got canned green beans, you're also taking in water when you have those things. So if you look at that and you say, well, that's only 48
Oh,
ounces.
that was
Do what?
that was definitely something I was wanting to. That was something I was wanting to talk about. I can't remember if we talked about this last time or not, but when you're canning, you can always, like, if you don't have enough cans to throw into your pressure cooker or water bath or whatever, and you need to put some more cans in there to even it out, do cans of water. Can the water. It is
Yeah.
sterilized.
Yeah.
Lots of diabetic people do that to clean wounds and stuff, and that is a good idea to have that on hand, is because it is sterile. You can use it for anything that you
Hey.
Yeah.
Can you stop and just
Yeah.
redo all of this, because you're fucking cutting out like crazy. Not cutting out, it's just like warping your voice.
Where do I start?
Just start back with, that's one of the things that I was going to mention.
That's one thing that I was going to mention, was like, we've talked about it before, like, when you're canning stuff, but when you're canning food, can water as well. If you don't have enough to put in your pressure cooker or your water bath, take, whatever size, you're doing. A lot of people usually try to do the, what is it? The half gallon or something size jugs. I can't remember. It's been a long time since I looked at those sizes, but the larger size jars and canned water. It's sterile. You can use it to clean wounds. You can use it to drink. You can use it for anything that you would need to use water for. The con is that it's in a glass jar. The pro is it pretty much lasts forever.
Right, yeah. And those glass jars, dude, those will come in handy at some point. You're not going to be reusing fucking paper cups.
Yeah, you can turn it into a drinking glass or whatever.
Right, yeah. And so then the other thing that I have that water, and like I was saying, the point that I was getting to was, you might sit there and say, well, 48 ounces, first of all, is fucking enough per day if you're not doing anything but sitting in a fucking shelter. You're fine. Second, like I said, if you're eating anything that has any moisture in it, like, you're getting more water. So fuck off with all that. But also too, I keep
You may not want to rehydrate some, like, dehydrated fruit with your corn water, but you may also want to use that corn water in your cooking.
Right. So suck a dick. Also, another thing that I think is super good idea, for a little bit longer term, like if you're talking like 2 weeks, are some of those stackable water crates.
Yeah.
Those are a bit easier to get around with than a 45-gallon drum of water might be. But again, it just depends on your situation, dude. If you are somebody who's like, I'm not fucking leaving this spot, water drums are much easier. If you're like, I don't know where I might end up, go with the fucking crates, because you can carry 2 of those at a time. They're 25 pounds, but you can throw one in each hand and go somewhere, and they stack really easily. Bit more expensive. But again, it just depends on what your situation is.
Also, Nalgene bottles. That's what we have it.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know
yeah,
about
yeah.
you, but those things accumulate like koozies. We
Right,
have
yeah.
probably 20 of them in storage just because we didn't want to throw them out. We also gave a lot to Goodwill, but the last time the hurricane, when the hurricanes were coming through here, we just took our Nalgene bottles and filled them up. So then we automatically had 33 milliliters or 32 ounces of. I'm sorry. I take that back. 32 ounces or 1,000 milliliters, depending on where you're at, of water
Right.
at hand. So, you could just fill things up with water if you're in that emergency situation, but just have that stuff on hand
Right.
in case.
Yeah, and so just to be clear here, we're not saying just start filling stuff up with water right now. We're saying keep that shit in a central location. Keep all of those bottles, keep all of those crates or whatever it might be. Keep that somewhere, that if you
Because
if you see this storm approaching, quickly fill those things up, get to wherever you're gonna bunker down at, and
I know you experienced this with weather, with tornadoes and especially winter weather. When people will start the moment you hear that oh, we're going to be getting an ice storm, or we're going to be getting a lot of snow. People start raiding the supermarkets and stuff. Always, this is one of the reasons why you need to have this stuff on hand, is because you may not be able to get to the supermarket to get that stuff, or like in our case, when Irma was coming through, everybody panic bought. There was at one point in time in town here, I think it was a 2 or 3 day period to where there was no gas and no bottled water. You could not find it anywhere. And people were buying juice. They were buying everything else that they could, thinking like, oh, well, if I don't have water, I can survive off of soda.
Right.
Which, no, you can't. I mean, I guess you can, but you're not going to like it.
No,
It's not
going to
help
it. Yeah.
Yeah. But it just makes sure, this is why you prep, is because you want to have it on hand for when that happens. Like, hurricane season is coming up pretty quickly, and so I'm actually starting now to go and making sure that we have plenty of water on hand and plenty of food.
Right, and I'm trying to think of anything that you would like even possibly feel like, oh well, I'll just wait to get it. There's just really not. There's nothing that you want in those situations that you're going to say, oh, I'll just get it when it happens. Now, something, if you're talking about cost-effective stuff, this is another thing on this list, talking about like rainwater catchers and things like that. Are those good to have? For sure, if you can get to that point, if you have the money to do that. What I recommend you...
Be careful, because there are some places where the government claims that they own the water, and you will get fined and or thrown in jail for doing that.
Well, listen to me. My point is, you would bust those things out like if shit got really, really bad. But my point is, don't spend the $100 or whatever it is to set those things up if you don't have that money right now. Those are like a little bit longer term stuff. If you're putting together a kit to be like, I want to get through a week, don't say like, all right, we'll just get that the day of, because that shit's not going to happen. Like, it's not going to be there.
Well, not to keep bringing it up, but when Irma was coming up here, I had coworkers that they don't think about any of this stuff, and so they were literally like one of the guy in particular, it's him, his fiance, and their son. They had no water, they had nothing, because they don't, they're not of that mindset to prepare. And so like I literally like went out to find water to get for them. I couldn't find it, so I was giving them water that we had extra. I mean, we gave that, my wife works for university, and we were giving water to students if they couldn't find it. It's like, we wanted to make sure we had enough on hand. It's just, there is going to be a time when you are going to need it and you're not going to have it, and you're going to wish you had it already.
Right. Don't fuck around when it comes to, especially when it's like, if you want to sit there and be like, having a generator would be really good, or having like a little solar bank would be good, but I don't know, whatever. Yeah, dude, sure, fucking waste your time when it comes to buying that stuff. But like food and water, and then to a lesser extent, certain heating things. I mean, have a fucking blanket. Don't be a dipshit. If you want to be like, I don't know about buying a propane heater, then cool, but don't fuck around when it comes to food and water, man. Like, get that shit squared away now. There's just not a reason not to. And we have both seen this, and you'll see it anytime this shit happens. Dude, it's not there. It's not at the store, dude. They've bought it. It's gone instantly. So, that's the whole point of preparing, so that you don't wait till the last fucking minute. Just buy the shit.
Yeah, it got to the point where we had to go to Amazon Prime, because the storm wasn't here yet, and people hadn't really thought about buying on there and getting 2-day delivery.
Right. Yeah.
And so we started, we got online and we started getting just extra shit. But within a day or so, everybody else has thought about doing that.
Right, yeah.
And then there's price gouging going on, because I don't know if you've noticed, but on Amazon, if there is a small amount of something left, they usually jack the prices up on it. Whether it's an emergency or not, they do that just because they know that that's an item that people are wanting, so they're increasing the price. And then once they get restocked, the price usually goes back down. Mm-hmm. But we, at one point, I never got around to buying a weather radio. And I was thinking about it then, and I was like, shit, we really need to get one. Get on there. The cheapest one is $60, and they weren't going to be restocked for another 3 weeks.
Yeah. And listen, we just need to throw this out there right now. We're gonna be pretty big whores for Amazon coming up here. Any of the links that you find in the preps list, that is our affiliate link to Amazon. But I mean, they're not. We just fucking love Amazon. It's perfect, especially for prepping shit, and especially for stock and bulk buys.
And complain if you're a Prime member and your box your order doesn't get in on time, like if it's delayed for any reason. Complain, because I have a year free or over a year free of Amazon Prime, because I will call and say, this did not arrive. You have guaranteed 2-day shipping. What are you going to do for me?
Right. And whether you if you're getting your tax return right now, something like that, or you get a little bit extra scratch or whatever, sign up for Prime for just a month and make a bulk purchase of a lot of stuff. Just save a bit of money on that shipping. But you can buy, dude, so many fucking things for cheap. With $150, you can fully stock yourself on some food and water for a while.
Also, think of places like Costco.
Yeah.
Because you can go and get, even if you don't have a Costco membership, you can go and get Costco gift cards and use those.
Yep. But if you're like me, you're fucking lazy, you just want to sit at home, look on Amazon and buy it that way. It's super easy. It honestly has never been easier in your entire life to prepare for anything. It's so easy, dude.
Yeah.
And the fucking reviews will tell you, this fucking radio sucks, this one's good, this flashlight's a piece of shit, whatever. To kind of just wrap up the water stuff, kind of how you were saying with keeping those bottles on hand, I would say, keep some kind of like, whether it's like a Camelback or those sort of like backpacks, any kind of backpack with water on it, or water carrying shit. Yeah, have those around, at least know where they are. Do you want to be drinking out of a Camelback if you're in your, storm cellar? Probably not, but you might need to go out at some point and look for shit, or just check on other people. It's not a bad thing to have.
Well, there's also other things that you can do. There are water storage bladders. Like there's the one that you can put in your bathtub and hook it up to the faucet and fill it up. Yeah. There's the water vapor bags, which are like basically a plastic bag that you can crumble up and throw, and they don't take any space, but you can fill them up and get like a liter of water.
Right, yeah. All stuff like that is just good to have around. I wouldn't recommend having them filled up until you're getting close to whatever's going on. You should have enough time in those scenarios to fill up a couple bags and bottles of water. And then I would recommend, like a lot of people, I see a lot of people go through these massive, like they buy these massive water filter systems. Again, that's just something like assessing your own situation. Even just having something like a big Brita filter around is enough to stick that bitch outside, suck up some rain. You know what I mean?
Or even do it in a staged process. Make your own kind of filtration system.
Right.
Sand and gravel and charcoal and whatnot, or just collect the water, filter it with cheesecloth if that's all you have. Add a little bit of bleach to it, just it, and then you've got your drinking water, and then maybe throw that into a Brita to get out that chlorine taste.
Right, exactly.
If there is any.
And then I would suggest keeping a. This is where we're starting to get into a little bit of more serious situations, but life straws are pretty cheap. You can get life straws for $10, and they'll work just as good as anything else. They might not last as long as a more expensive one, but they'll work just as well as far as making dirty or tainted water drinkable. And then as we were saying about other ways to purify your water, Jordan, I have a bit of a question for you.
What's that?
Hey, what does this thing do?
So Jordan, this is the part of the show where we talk about how things work. What can you tell me about iodine tablets or using chlorine to purify your water, some of that stuff?
I don't know if I would use chlorine, but I would use bleach. What the general rule of thumb is 2 drops of bleach per quart or liter of water. Stir it up so it gets in there and let it stand for minimum a half an hour. That is what a lot of people due to sterilized water with bleach. Um,
And why would
the
you recommend that situation versus like boiling your water?
If you don't have any means of fire to boil the water.
Well, also too, the other part of that too is if you're boiling water, you're also losing water.
You are losing water. That's if if you've got a big stock pot and you can boil a lot of water at once, you can probably stand to lose a little bit of that water. And it's always best to use clean water first, boil your water second, disinfect it with bleach third, and then if you don't have that, then do your filtration system like sand and gravel and all that stuff. If you maybe throw in your Life Straw and your other filters before you start using bleach, just because you always want to make sure that you're always safe with it. But the general rule of thumb is the 2 drops per quart or liter of water. And then using iodine, if you have a 2% tincture of iodine, they say to use 5 drops per quart if the water is clear. So make sure there's no dirt and shit floating around in it. If there is, then they say to add roughly around 10 drops of water per quart if it's cloudy.
And I would say too, bleach, iodine tablets, I mean, there's not a lot else you can do with them in a lot of situations, but bleach, super effective for a lot of stuff. Do you want to put bleach on your cut? No, dude, that's going to suck. But
there are sometimes like scorpion stings and stuff like that. If you take a little dab of bleach on there, it'll take that pain away almost instantly.
Right. And again, like, if I get cut on something, do I really want to use bleach to disinfect it? No, it's going to suck, but it will work. So bleach has a lot of different uses too in situations. Or fucking who knows, maybe you fucking stab a guy and you need to clean your knife off or something. Like, bleach has more uses. So it's a versatile tool and it's fucking cheap.
And there's also the little tablets, the potable aqua things. You'll see them in the camping section at big box stores and stuff. But those use tetraglycine. Is it tetraglycine?
I think
is that how you pronounce it?
I don't know. Probably
hydroperiodide. I don't know how to say it.
It doesn't
Let's cut
matter.
that part out. I'm gonna see those waveforms and delete just what's before that.
I keep a list of where I need to cut.
Okay. Yeah, so you can also get the potable water purification or potable aqua water purification tablets at big box stores and Amazon. Is usually in camping sections. It's just a little tab. They have instructions on there on how to use it. We used to take those when I was in the Boy Scouts with us. We never used them. It was one of those things like, oh, I've got this. It was kind of fun to have, but
yeah. And it's we're sort of trending a bit into the hygiene section of the prep list here, but another key point to make is that I would recommend you use like baby wipes or something like that for hygiene in certain situations. But if your goal is to use water for that, or if you plan to use water for cooking or things like that, make sure that that's a separate stockpile than the pile of water that you have to subsist on.
And you can actually get hygiene kits for disasters online.
Yeah, and so that again, that's a different topic that we'll go over at a different point. But it bears mentioning right now. Whatever your method of keeping yourself clean and cooking your food, if that involves water or mixing it with freeze-dried food or whatever it might be, make sure that that's kept separate from the water that is for drinking water.
Or at least labeled so.
Well, not even just labeled so. What I mean is make sure that you're accounting for that on your checklist in a separate way. Don't sit there. You don't want to get to a point where you say, oh, I got all this water. Oh, fuck, I didn't think about cleaning. I didn't think about how I'm going to wash my asshole when I take a shit. Make sure that you're thinking about those in separate terms so that you don't end up under-prepared for that stuff. Because the last thing you want when the world ends is a smelly dick.
Or your butthole to reek.
or your wife's vagina to stink the room up.
Because that's never a fun situation when you're meeting people for the first time, if you are finding other survivors.
The last thing you want are the smell of farts and queefs in your fucking...
In your tent or wherever you're at.
All right, are we really gonna fucking do it again? We're really gonna do it?
Yeah, we gotta have to, since it's written into the structure of the show. We need to do it. There's no reason to skip it.
All right, do we know what time it is in the show?
What time is it?
Listener email.
Fucking listener email. Still no emails, motherfucker.
Anything from WordPress?
Nope, because I sent it all to the spam box.
Oh, so we literally have nothing. No one likes us.
Like I said, we are recording these a little bit early at first, just to get it going. So
don't try to cover for them.
Listen, by the time you guys are hearing this is old fucking news, because clearly, but it's exciting to us. Our podcast was approved and accepted to iTunes. That's an email we got. That's pretty dope. That's a pretty important part for any podcast to get approved.
And so does that mean they just, like, oh, okay, like they've got all the necessary information, or do you think they actually listened to it?
No, they couldn't have, because it was it was literally the email that I submitted. It was at 122, and then the email that said you were approved was at 125. So I think it was just, if there's a human element to it, it's just somebody going, yeah, it's all stuff.
Is there any sort of rating system that has to go on this?
What do you mean?
Like, there's
rating our iPod?
Offensive language.
Oh, yeah. I checked that it was explicit just to cover our ass on it, but I think we're fine.
And if there's any potential sponsors out there, we will bleep things out or not say them just for you.
Oh, we don't even need to. Jordan, I forgot. We have another sponsor. Are you ready to hear it?
Oh, shit.
This week's episode is sponsored by Domino.net.
I don't believe that one bit.
Domino.net. Tired of paying big money for pizza? Skip the lines and the price for...
This is not real, people.
Just with using Domino.net. Order online, in person, or over the phone.
They are not sponsors because I have not gotten any pizzas.
It's Domino.net. It's not Domino's.com.
Oh,
it's Domino.
Shoot. I still don't believe it.
Domino.net. Good pizza anytime. It's so simple. Just head to Domino.net right now and order one pizza for $7, two pizza for $5.
Are you making these up or are these real?
These are real prices from Domino.net.
Hold on, I'm going to go to Domino.net right now just to see if it is real.
Domino.net, the best pizza website ever. Order online and have it shipped to anywhere in the U.S.
If you go to Domino with no E on the end, .net, it takes you to IBM.
Why are you fucking this up? The whole point is that we do a read so that real sponsors can hear us and say, oh, those guys aren't fucking idiots. They can do a read.
Because we can't tell people that we're sponsored by...
We can tell people we're sponsored by companies that don't exist. Domino.net does not sell pizza. Stamp.com is not a website. It's fine.
But what if the people don't want to be lied to?
They know. They're going to know. Fuck off. Because this is why. Because whose slogan is Stamp.com for when one stamp is all you need? Why would
you never know.
Who would run a pizza store called Domino.net? It's so simple.
$7 for one pizza.
This is why I fucking hate listener email.
Because we have to make shit up.
Yeah, fucking send us an email. You can email us at prepperboys.gmail or Jesus Christ, prepperboys@gmail.com. You can also reach out to us on Twitter at prepperboys, and then we also are on Facebook at prepperboys podcast. So send it there because I'm fucking
Have you started an Instagram yet? Because
No.
that would be something that we could both post on.
I don't want an Instagram because I don't know how it works. And
You
it's
take
fucking
pictures.
dumb. It's the Tumblr's easier. And
Nah,
it
dude.
updates to our
Instagram,
blog.
You can get sponsors very easily on Instagram.
Then you do it. I'm fucking.
All right, I'll do it.
Sick of listener email. I'm fucking gonna cancel this segment. And so I told her, if you don't like the way I wash the dog, do it yourself.
Yeah, that's what you say. Definitely.
Anyways, Jordan, we're going a little bit long here. We've been recording for a bit now. You know what I think we should do?
What?
Let's wrap this up.
It's time to wrap this up, buddy.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, so let's recap what we've talked about today. One, I love the country. I love this country. I don't like a lot about the country in its current state.
Ryan is a patriot.
But I am a patriot. I won't die for this country, but I will try hard. Big fan of the U.S. Big fan of the fucking presidents. Not the president currently, but good old George Washington. What's your? Do you have a top list of presidents?
Calvin Coolidge is number one.
He's a bitch.
What?
Nah, he's all right.
He was probably the best president we had outside of Washington.
I love Washington so much. I think he's so fucking awesome. There's a lot of things that aren't true about him. He never chopped down a cherry tree.
You just chopped down your heart.
He never refused to become king. That's not a true story. It was just one fucking guy wrote that in a letter to him, like a dumbass. But he was a really good guy, and he was pretty tall, and he led with open heart and iron fist. Big fan. I also like Lincoln.
Did he have wooden teeth?
He did have. Well, I mean, they weren't strictly wooden. You know what I mean? Nobody just walks around with fucking wood in their mouth like a dumbass, but he did have dentures.
Never know.
So I love George Washington. I have a George Washington statue, a little statue model guy in my living room. Big fan.
I believe that.
Also, fucking, god damn it, send us an email or a comment. Fucking tell us we're shit faces. I don't care. I just want to interact with somebody at this point, you know? How long are we supposed to keep just...
Yeah.
Talking
to ourselves?
We're running out of emails. I've put so many in the spam folder.
I think we should start having some guests on.
We're going to try to
because
do
maybe then we can get people who aren't interested in us but are interested in that person to listen, and then maybe we'll get a couple, hey, fuck you guys, you suck emails, because that'd be better than nothing.
Yeah, honestly, at this point, fucking come on. I think the next podcast, we'll go over a bit more on the prep list. We'll start talking about some energy sources, some heat energy, how to keep warm, how to see, how to run some electric stuff, what you can do for those. And we'll also start to go over our first aid checklist. And
our first AIDS checklist or first aid checklist?
Nope, first AIDS checklist. We're going to check off the things that you need to do to get AIDS for the first time.
Or check off the first time we got it.
Yes.
As opposed to the second time Ryan got it. Not to make fun of anybody with any kind of autoimmune disease.
I have an autoimmune disease, you dick face.
I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to make fun of you.
I have vitiligo, my hands.
No, you just like painting yourself white.
No, I tell people that I got in fights because a woman asked me once, do you get in a lot of fights? And I said, yeah, bitch, I do.
Yeah, and I hate women like you. No, that's not right.
And I hate fucking idiots who won't sell me cigarettes without a driver's license. Anyways, that is going to do it for episode number 4 of the Prepper Boys podcast. Like we said, send us some questions, send us some comments, or just tell us how much you hate us. Either way is fine with us. And check out our website, check out Twitter, our Twitter page. There's not a lot on Twitter that you won't see on the website, but the website is prepperboys.com, bitch. Check that out. If you do listen to us through iTunes, leave us a rating and a good review. That helps us a bunch. People love it. And share. You can share straight from, if you go to prepperboys.com, and to listen to us, you can share straight from the post.
Do it.
It's so
Tell
easy. It's
Tell
so
your friends.
It's so simple. PurpleBoys.com. It's so simple.
Purple Boys, Deuce baby, we gotta survive. Yeah, we gotta survive to stay alive. Yeah, to stay alive. You better be ready, or you better be steady. No, you don't be pathetic. It can happen. Purple Boys, you just gotta watch it all. It can happen. Purple Boys, when the backs against the wall. It can happen. Purple Boys, and there's no one left to call. It can happen. Purple Boys, it can happen any minute.